So it quickly started out as an Ox focus episode, very quickly ended up being a Rat focus episode, and last week I thought was one of, if not the strongest episode of the series to date. It just had a lot going on for it, and this episode is pretty damn close to the quality that we got last week, at least in my honest opinion. The very beginning stuff, it was very much like inner monologue with Ox, which makes sense. There's not a lot of characters left, so just hearing him talk inside his head, that makes the most sense to keep the story rolling and not make it feel like we're just watching a pointless fight. And I really enjoyed all that content, especially seeing the new rabbit form and how he literally stuffed Monkey inside of his corpse so that he could launch a surprise attack and pin him down as he kind of reformed to take him out and then turn him into an undead corpse. Completely terrifying form, especially how they were kind of shading the colors there with all these reds. Just, he made him look like a demonic Frankenstein rabbit looking beast. But to see Rat come in holding the bomb that Sheep left before he died, that was just the icing on the cake, because how were they going to take out Rabbit? Rabbit, for all intents and purposes, was going to win. He had literally Monkey, who, after seeing what he did with Monkey, there was no way that anyone could defeat that. But if they had fire or something to that nature, they could definitely take out all the corpses. But to be able to do that, get a surprise attack, that's pretty much impossible. So having a bomb that literally could destroy everyone in sight there makes the most sense. Monkey she had her orders to keep Ox down. If she would have went to attack Rat, Ox would have just killed her, or at least cut her up into pieces. Rabbit was still kind of like reforming, there was nothing that he could do, and Ox was fine going out as long as the corpses didn't win, because he doesn't know who Rat is. He could be a serial killer, he could be the devil for all he knows, but he's going to be a better choice at letting live than this demonic rabbit who can literally control the dead. So it makes sense of how they ultimately defeated, but what was interesting was how quickly it shifted into Rat's story, and I'm glad we finally learned exactly what his ability was, because all along characters kept saying, I think I know who you are, and it was like, how are they going to do this? Like, how does people know? Is it his family? Like, was it past people? But no, his ability is basically probability. Essentially, he's able to take paths and basically determine which route would be the best route, and he can choose which one he can follow. So that's why he's always exhausted, because in his mind, he's running through 100 scenarios at probably any given time to figure out which route he should take, and there was one route where he could win this war, and that's pretty damn awesome, I have to say. Like, if you have to overtake Rabbit, like, literally, you have to do something impressive as to how they're going to overtake it, and to have a character who can run all of these, like, paths that he can take, that makes total sense. I absolutely loved learning about his ability and ultimately how he was able to determine which paths to take, which people to team up with, and ultimately how he was able to kill them all. And I thought it was also really interesting how he mentioned that there was one path where him and Rabbit more or less had a buddy moment, which is kind of interesting. Like, I wouldn't mind seeing an OVA where we focus on that path. Could you imagine a guy who can take all of these paths in his head on top of demonic corpse-controlling monster? That'd be pretty awesome. But seeing all of the paths and seeing how it can work, especially with that conversation between the guy who always says, everybody clap your hands, it was interesting to see how it works and to see how exhausting it really is, because he kept trying to take paths of, could he avoid this interview? And ultimately, he more or less died so many times that he ultimately just went with the interview, and then eventually could get out of there. So it's really cool to see the ability. I think it's easily the most interesting ability we saw in this war. Ox didn't even have an ability, so that's pretty damn impressive that he was able to do that with just sheer skill alone. But it was interesting, and I think it's going to be even more interesting to see, one, what Rat's backstory is. I assume we're going to see Rat's backstory next week because we finished the war. On top, what his wish will be, because really, I don't think we're going to see anything that crazy with the wishes. I mean, if we look back at what Sheep wished for, I don't think we're going to see like world peace or anything like that, but I think it'll be interesting just to see where his wish will go, and ultimately what they're going to do with the final episode. A lot of ways this could feel like the final episode as long as we saw what the wish was, but I like when anime do have that final episode that isn't really insane. Maybe we will see insane stuff next week, but it's fun to see these episodes where we have most of it kind of wrapped up, and now we just have one more week to just tie it up together and part ways with the series. This was a fun episode. I really enjoyed it. I think the art and animation direction was absolutely on point. Voice acting, again, seriously really well done, and just the new design we saw for Rabbit was the standout in the show. Not just within this episode, the standout in the show. I absolutely love this episode. I'm very excited to see where we're going to go next week. But let me know your thoughts. What did you think of the reveal of Rat's ability, how he ultimately won this war, and what do you think he's going to wish for next week? Let me know your thoughts, and before you leave, smack that like button, share your support. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.